Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me. If you are joining me today, you are here because you want to teach your child how to read. My name is Marquis Jones and we are going to go over a webinar titled Start with Phonics, Teaching Your Child to Read. The main points that I want to cover today is what is phonics, why you should use it, and how to get started. Before I get into my main points, I want to go over the 3 things you should avoid doing when teaching your child to read. First is word memorization. This is when you ask your child to look at the letters paired together on the screen and associate it with an object, chair. So essentially you're asking your child to look at the word and memorize it as a whole picture instead of decoding each letter and understanding what each letter does. At first, this method seems very effective and it almost seems like the children are accelerating at reading, but this quickly turns into overwhelm once the words go from simple, small, high-frequency words to larger, more complicated words that the child is expected to know. And the list of the words the child is expected to know also increases drastically, and hence you get the overwhelm. Second thing to do is avoid telling your child to look at the picture when they don't know a word. So for example, if your child can read, "I like to eat," but they don't know the last word in the sentence, some educators will say, "Look at the picture, what do you think?" To which the child will reply, "Ice cream. I like to eat ice cream." The problem with this method comes when you have more complicated pictures, more complicated text, or no pictures at all. So a teacher from Oakland, California reported to AMP that her experience with her student Rodney, he picked up a book to read it. The book said, "My little dog likes to eat with me." But Rodney had done what he was taught to do time and time again, which was look at the picture instead of actually read the words. So he read, "My dog likes to lick bones." Number 3, avoid telling your child to just skip it. If you don't know the word, just skip it. The idea behind this is as long as your student understands what's happening overall, then they don't actually need that word. The problem with that is they're not actually reading. So a student might look at this and say, "The party was blank. We had cake and ice cream." They'll think cake, ice cream, party, and they'll think fun. And they're right, it was fun, but that's still not the same as reading. They don't know the word fantastic. So in comes phonics. What should be your backbone and your foundation for teaching your students to read? Phonics is a method to teach reading which uses decoding of words. 63% of educators use phonics and prefer phonics according to a study done by Education Week. What is phonics? The word phonics comes from the Greek word phone, meaning sound. It's how we get the word telephone, meaning faraway sound, microphone, small sound, and homophone, same sounds. So the words meet, there. Phonics teaches students that each letter has a sound. A says a, and ah, and a. B says b, C says k, so on and so forth. There are 26 letters in our alphabet and 38 basic sounds. The reason why there are more sounds than letters is because of those vowels, A, E, I, O, and U. Each one has multiple sounds. So A, for example, has a long sound, A as in 8, and a short sound, A as in apple. Once the kids know how to decode the letters, what each letter sound means, they can decode the words. So cat becomes k, a, t, cat. Once they have those basic blends, or those basic sounds, they can move on to letter blends, which are common letter combinations that you will find in your reading, such as st for street or stairs, or sh for sheep, shape, that type of thing. On the left-hand side, you see the blends, the letter blends, meaning you have 2 separate letters that make 2 separate sounds. S says s, T says t. Together, they say st, st. And then the letter digraphs on the right-hand side are 2 separate letters with 1 sound. So the first example, S says s and H says h, but together they say sh. So those are other steps building upon phonics, and then once you do all these, you also add on spelling rules which will help you with your phonics. So here the student is able to decode step, st, step. They're actually reading and not just guessing. Super simple to get started. All you need is some flashcards. If you don't have flashcards, you can write letters on a paper and just begin showing your student the letter and the sound that it makes. If you yourself aren't sure what each of the sounds make, I know some of the vowels can be tricky. You can find videos on YouTube to help you out and figure out what those sounds are to tell your student. Something we like to do in our house is the letter jumping game. We put an object on the floor and my children jump to me as they say the sound and the letter on the card that I'm holding up. They take the card from me and they collect it and put it in their own pile. Once they have a capital and a lowercase letter of whichever alphabet letter they're collecting, they turn it back into me and they get a chocolate chip. Super fun game for the little kids. They're learning their capital and lowercase letters. They're learning their sounds and they're using their whole body and all of their senses to do it. Other games you can play is a scavenger hunt. Hold up your flashcard and ask them, hey, who can find me something in the house that starts with the letter B? And you send them on their way to go grab objects and bring them back to you that begin with that letter sound that you are holding up. Overall, I hope from today you have learned in this short video why phonics should be the foundation of your reading journey with your children. It is effective and there is no skipping and there is no guessing words as your child is reading, and it is preferred by 63% of educators. If you have any questions about our webinar today and you want to learn more about phonics and reading, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/thelearnedbee. I hope you have enjoyed the webinar today. Thank you all so much for joining me and happy reading.